I'd like to say good morning to everybody. I'm going to be reading Deuteronomy, the 10th chapter, and I'll be reading out of a Holy Name Bible containing the Holy Name version of the Old and New Testament, critically compared with ancient authorities and various manuscripts, revised by the late A.B. Trena of the Scripture Research Association. Deuteronomy, the 10th chapter. At that time Yahweh said unto me, Hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and come up unto me into the mount, and make thee an ark of wood. And I will write on the tables the words that were in the first tables, which thou breakest, and thou shalt put them in the ark. And I made an ark of shittim wood, and hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and went up into the mount, having the 2 tables in mine hand. And he wrote on the tables according to the first writing, the 10 commandments which Yahweh spoke unto you in the mount, out of the midst of the fire, in the day of the assembly. And Yahweh gave them unto me. And I turned myself and came down from the mount, and put the tables in the ark which I had made. And there they be, as Yahweh commanded me. And the children of Israel took their journey from the wells of the children of Jokneam to Mosera. There Aaron died, and there he was buried, and Eleazar his son ministered in the priest office in his stead. From thence they journeyed unto Gugada, and from Gugada they to Jotbath, a land of rivers of waters. At that time Yahweh separated the tribe of Levi to bear the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, to stand before Yahweh to minister unto him, and to bless his name unto this day. Wherefore Levi had no part nor inheritance with his brethren. Yahweh is his inheritance, according as Yahweh thy Elohim promised him. And I stayed in the mount according to the first time 40 days and 40 nights. And Yahweh hearkened unto me at that time also, and Yahweh would not destroy me. And Yahweh said unto me, Arise, take thy journey before the people, that they may go in and possess the land which I swore unto their fathers to give unto them. And now, Israel, what doth Yahweh thy Elohim require of thee, but to fear Yahweh thy Elohim, to walk in his ways, and to love him, and to serve Yahweh thy Elohim with all thine heart and all thy soul, to keep the commandments of Yahweh and his statutes, which I commanded thee this day for thy good. Behold, the heavens and the heavens is Yahweh's thy Elohim, their earth also with all that therein is. Only Yahweh had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Circumcise, therefore, the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. For Yahweh, your Elohim, is a mighty El, a sovereign of sovereigns, a great El, mighty and terrible, which regardeth not persons, nor taketh bribes. He doth execute the judgment of the fatherless and the widow, and loveth the stranger, in giving him food and raiment. Love ye therefore thy stranger, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. That thou fear Yahweh thy Elohim, him thou shalt serve, and to him thou shalt cleave, and swear by his name. He is thy praise, he is thy Elohim, that hath done for thee these great and terrible things, which thine eyes have seen. Thy fathers went down into Egypt with 70 persons, and now Yahweh thy Elohim hath made thee as the stars of heaven for a multitude. I just read Deuteronomy 10th chapter.
Please make sure you have your phone sign. Our speaker today will be Ardina Quail.
Just y'all get charged of me, but the song that was sung today was taken from one of his chapter, actually 34th chapter, actually 34 and 14, where Yahweh is telling Moses about what his real name is. What his real name is. 14, Exodus 34:14. Real quick, then we're going to come back to the chapter we're going to begin. Now, let's see. Trying to see who's here. Was everybody here last Sunday? Anybody that wasn't here last Sunday? Or Charles was not going to be. You were here? Okay, you weren't here. Okay. I'm trying to find out so I know where to go, where to start with what I'm talking about today.
A week ago or Friday?
Huh?
A week ago or this Friday?
Started Sunday. That's Sunday. Did Friday night. And we do the same chapter. And we'll continue with it until we hopefully get through it. Okay, let's say that verse quick. This is something that Yahweh saying to Moses on the third trip. Just read it quick.
Exodus 34 and 14. For thou shalt worship no other God.
He says, thou shalt worship no other God,
For Yahweh.
or no other Elohim, read,
For Yahweh, whose name is jealous.
whose name is jealous.
He is a jealous El.
He is a jealous El. When you go back to Exodus, the 20th chapter, which gives along the commandment, thou shalt not take it, or thou shalt not have no other God before me. And only should thou serve.
So Yahweh, who is jealous of his name and the holy name. Read that again, please.
For thou shalt worship no other God. For Yahweh, whose name is jealous, is a jealous El.
Here it said, who is jealous of his name.
So he is jealous of his name, so that's why he can't even write his name, but he is. He needs to be on his side, yeah. Yeah. We've been going over the 3 trips of Moses in the top of Mount Sinai, so we've been going over the past 3 meetings. And I'm going to do a kind of real summary and then we'll move on. That's what we are going to do right now. Because our time is at a point now where we have to see that I'm trying to emphasize that what Dr. Kitty brought to us was the truth. And when you understand that, so we do this real quick and then we're going to move on. Real quick, overview of the tabernacle, like a flyover of the tabernacle. The first trip Moses goes up in the mountain that you have recorded when you go up in the mountain is in the 19th chapter of Exodus, where the same mountain where Yahweh appeared to him at first. When at the top of it, where he appeared to him at the foot of that mountain, he appeared to him in a vision of that burning bush. The same mountain, they come to the same mountains where now he's taken up to the top of the mountain. So I think it's 1920 is where he says, come up with me to the top of the mountain. And he tells him, so listen, I'm trying to record the time he goes to the top of the mountain. And I try to show by the tabernacle pattern. Now you got a gate to the tabernacle. And that's going to become the base of the mountain. And you're going to go up to the neighbor. Why I say that is because when he goes to the top of the mountain, if you go back up to the 14th verse and come down, he's telling them what he wants them to do. Talking about Israel when they come to Mount Sinai, prepare, clean up, get around the mountain against the third day. So he's asking them to do that on his first trip up into the mountain. And then he comes down from the mountain. Now, when the Messiah came, he come in, he's to show that he's the same one. See, he's going to have to fulfill these. And this here was a preview of him speaking the Ten Commandments to them, told him to get around the mountain. Then you find Yahweh had him get around the mountain, and Yahweh speaks from the mountain Sinai to the children of Israel. That's in the 20th chapter of Exodus. So Yahweh's given a command, clean up, get around the mountain. That's just why I got it to labor. Then I have him at this, what they call it in the 5th chapter of Matthew, of the Beatitudes, where he's kind of going, he's going back, refreshing their mind to go back what Yahweh said from Mount Sinai back there, which was to these commandments that God gave Israel for them to obey and to do. So that's the first trip. Does anybody have any questions about that, so before I move any further?
So 19 and 3 is at the plateau of the mountain.
Huh?
19 and 3 is he's at the plateau of the mountain.
He said, if you read that 19th chapter, he's up and down from the mountain about 2 times.
Okay.
But he goes to the top of the city, 20.
That's what the distinction is here, right?
Right.
He's going up to the top.
Top. You go to the mountain many times, right? Go ahead.
All right, gotcha.
But to the top of the mountain is what we're being specific about.
So 19 and 3 is specifically talking about the plateau.
19 and 3. Yeah, read something from the plateau, yeah, right. And he's giving you this charge. And you might even get understanding that a lot of things he's saying between the 5th and 6th verse down to the 18th verse, I mean, is what I was told him on this, to me when you're talking about this, rehearsing, you know, making it clear for Israel to be cleaned up before they come before the mountain, before he had Mount Sinai. So I'm saying that you'll find that right as you have it before the 20th chapter, 20th verse, is summarized in the verses above that. I'm having hills will clean up together around the mountain. So I'm not to come near the mountain, not to come to the top of the mountain. All that's in that 19th chapter. He goes up to the top of the mountain, and God will just confirm and verify that. And then he had him come down. When he comes down from the mountain, they had 3 days before he had them together around the mountain. They blow the trumpets, they assembled around the mountain, and they were there when Yahweh spoke the law to Israel. And I said the Messiah, when he comes in, he goes up in the high mountain, seeing the multitude, he goes up the mountain, and he goes back to the same subject, same topic that was said back then. So that advertises first trip of Moses, the Messiah's first recorded trip we have in the mountain when he's coming in to fulfill. So I'm just trying to get the correlation there with that. So that'd be the 5th chapter of Matthew, time with the 19th chapter of Exodus.
Matthew the 5th chapter?
Mm-hmm. 5th, 6th, and 7th chapter. That's all the Beatitudes, all of what we refer to as the Beatitudes. But he covers many of the laws and gives them insight about Yahweh's looking at how he looked at the law in the eyes of mankind. Now you have, so when he gives a charge, the top of the mountain, he comes down and Israel prepares 3 days to stand before God. So we mark the time of this trip as being June the 3rd, when you come to the mountain. June the 6th is when he speaks the law down to the children of Israel. I'm trying to time this as well so everybody be on the same page about time. Yes.
Just to summarize, on June the 3rd, he doesn't go up to the top. And on June the 6th is his first trip to the top.
Here's the 20th verse, let's read 1920.
Exodus 19.
And we're going to read on down.
Exodus 19 and 20.
Uh-huh.
And Yahweh came down upon Mount Sinai on the top of the mount. And Yahweh called Moses up to the top of the mount, and Moses went up. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Go down, charge the people, lest they break through unto Yahweh to gaze, and many of them perish. And let the priests also which come near to Yahweh sanctify themselves, lest Yahweh break forth upon them. And Moses said unto Yahweh, The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for thou chargest us, saying, Set bounds about the mount and sanctify it.
And that statement he's making there, he's referring to when he's on the Petra Mountain. He was giving them instructions about having to gather around the mountain. Let no man or beast come into the top of the mountain. So Yahweh did tell him that he's going to come up into the top of the mountain. He's going to come to the top. But he's not buying it because based on what he told him earlier. Trying to be obedient to what Yahweh said. So Yahweh goes on to tell him what's going to happen. Continue reading, please.
And Yahweh said unto him, Away, get thee down, and thou shalt come up.
And thou shalt come up, read.
Thou
and
Aaron with thee.
And Aaron will come with thee. Read.
But let not the priests and the people break through to come up unto Yahweh, lest he break forth upon them. So Moses went down unto the people and spake unto them.
So he went down and spake unto them. In other words, he just reconfirmed what they had to do before Yahweh spake from Mount Sinai. Now I think it's that 18th verse or the 16th verse where he, or maybe it's 13th verse where he told get around the mountain and blow the trumpets.
16 verse.
16th verse, okay. Go back, see. Now what I'm trying, see, Yahweh is using men to write the Bible based upon the visions and revelations that they have. Okay? Now, where did he write this part of this Bible?
What year?
Hmm?
What year?
No, I said, when did he write this Bible? When did he write this?
Moses.
Moses.
When he tells the
Moses
scribe,
wrote 1490. Yeah.
It's 14.
Because it has to be a dedication.
See, okay,
After the events.
huh?
After the events.
After the events, that's right. He's writing after the events.
Sure.
So they're not in really chronological order when you read them.
Right.
That's why I'm trying to do that, try to bring it, because Yahweh's hiding it from the wise, and he's revealing unto the prudent. You and I are the prudent. We're the ones Yahweh's best giving us eye over to understand what the Bible's written about. Does that make sense to us? He's hiding himself from the devil. So they try to read about, like I had read that Friday night about an article that they are thinking there's two different creations. And the old Scofield Bible, I thought I had a copy, but I don't seem to find it right now. They say under chapter 1, verse 1, they give a description saying the first account in Genesis was written by Moses. The second account was when Israel was taken captive into Babylon, and the Babylonians gave them the way it is to the creation. And they wrote that down as being the second chapter. Now that's the concept that most theologians have in their mind about the first and second chapter of Genesis. Okay. Now here we're trying to explain and make this clear. Now this is why Dr. Kenny wanted to get into movies, for people to see how this creation came into existence. And trying to illustrate what he saw is what you got on the charts now. Is what he's illustrating. But they have to be explained. I mean, take and give it to a theologian. What are you going to do with it?
Give it back.
Say again?
I see that. If you took that chart and give it to a theologian, to explain it to you. And she said, he'll just give it back to you. So that's pretty much true. See, I think Paul writes about that their mouths must be stopped. And when he sent that textbook out, that's what he did, stop the mouths. Because if he said anything forward, what they've been teaching is against it. It shows them up. And if he forwards it, how come they're not teaching it? Because they're not teaching it. It's not being taught in the world, but what Dr. Kenny has presented to us. Yeah.
If they speak against it, then they have to show for it what's wrong.
Well, yeah, that's true. And they haven't done it.
They can't do that.
Right.
Because then when you talk to someone,
Yeah, right.
they should know.
Yes.
In the textbook, it talks about that, and he was saying that those theologians fail to tell you where, when, who, why, and how. He does give references, but I don't know where to get a hold of those things that he points us out to go see what they say. I don't know if they're out of print or what.
Probably some more. You probably find some archives and go to the Library of Congress and probably find some copies of it. They do have some records someplace. You being able to go and put your hand on that would be kind of hard to do. Probably could be done, make an investigation to do that. I know one magazine that came out in 1940, no, earlier than that. I think it was around 1939, to where he said it was a little magazine called Cornette magazine. There where you have some of the leading scientific minds, what they said about the creation. They finally, among themselves, concluded that the account of Genesis is the most accurate account of the creation. He does refer to that one book when he refers to. I'm aware in the text you read about that, but he did do it before several times. Yes.
All right, so just so I can see if I got this right. So Exodus 19, chapter the 20th to the 21st, the last verse of 19th chapter, that's on June 3rd.
Yes.
And then Exodus 19, 16 through 19 verse is June the 6th.
The same day, same June 6th.
June
3rd.
So it's June 3rd?
Yeah, we not
Even
here.
the 16th chapter, even the 16th verse?
The 16th verse.
What she's going to read?
When you finish the bottom of the 21st verse, read that 21st verse and then read the 16th verse.
21st verse.
This is when Yahweh is talking to Moses in the top of the mountain. He comes down from the mountain. Then the 16th verse is where you're going to pick up where it describes what happened when the people come to Mount Sinai. Read it
Oh,
again.
21st verse.
Yeah.
And Yahweh said unto Moses, Go down, charge the people, lest they break through unto Yahweh to gaze, and many of them perish.
And many of them perish. Based upon what he says up here above them. Don't come up in the mountain. See? Right now, go to 16 now.
16. And it came to pass on the third day in the morning.
Now it came to pass on the third day in the morning. Now he's describing what happened on the third day. June the 3rd is when Yahweh is communing to Moses and telling him to clean up together on the mountain. He goes to the top of the mountain. 3 days later is now you're getting the description of what took place on 3 days later. I read that down. Read
Yeah,
down
so
to
that's in the June
three,
6th,
huh?
which is June 6th.
Which would be June 6th, right?
And then it goes right into the 20th chapter.
And then from that, when you go down to the 19th verse, it goes into the
Yeah, that's what I was at.
20th chapter, right?
All right, I got
You
you.
follow what I'm saying?
I do.
And that's,
So everybody on the same page, huh?
and that's June the 6th.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's go back over it again so everybody on the same page. The 20th verse of the 19th chapter, God is calling Moses to the top of the mountain. And that's the first trip
To the top.
to the top of the mountain, yes.
June 30th.
And you find he repeats things to the children of Israel and takes back to Yahweh, let him know that he had relayed the message to the children of Israel, and they said all that Yahweh said we would do. That's all that's in that first part of the chapter. When he comes down from the top of the mountain, see, they prepared themselves for 3 days. Now you go back to the 16th verse to pick up what happened on the 3rd day. 3 days from that time. Okay, now let's read that now. 16.
Exodus 19:16.
Mhm.
And it came to pass on the 3rd day in the morning that there were thunders and lightning,
To describe what they were seeing, thunders and lightning from the mountain, read,
and a thick cloud upon the mount,
and a thick cloud upon the mountain.
and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud,
Now the priests are down blowing the trumpets loud, so
so
the
that
assembly of Israel could come together around the mountain. Go ahead, read.
so that all the people that was in the camp trembled.
They trembled, they were frightened, okay. Read on.
And Moses brought forth the people out of the
So
camp
the people came out to the camps, read.
to meet with Elohim, and they stood at the foot of the mount.
They stood at the foot of the mountain. What verse is that?
And now 18th verse.
Okay.
And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke,
Mm-hmm.
because Yahweh descended upon it in fire,
Mm-hmm.
and the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole mount quaked greatly.
Okay. 20 and 1.
Exodus 20 and 1.
Huh?
Which one, 19 on there?
I thought you
19 also.
oh, so 19,
That was
different 19, I thought you finished with 19. I didn't remember. Just going down on that 19, you just read the 18. Now 19 and then go to 20.
19 and 20. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded loud, and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and Elohim answered him by a voice.
Right, you don't have to answer about it, so he got to put him out, assembly together around the mountain, and he says, Yahweh, and Yahweh responded by,
By speaking.
thou shalt not hit thou, I have brought thee out of the land of Egypt. See the 20th chapter, verse 1. So now he's now introducing himself to the children of Israel. Yahweh already made himself known to Moses. You already know that. He met him at the burning bush, got him up here tonight, he came back to the same place he told him to come back to. Now he's telling them now to now he's giving me to speak to them, giving them the law. Okay, now let's read the first 2 verses of the 20th chapter and we'll move on. I haven't got time to read everything down. I mean, it would be great to be able to do that, but it's just take a lot of time doing it. See, because there's a whole lot of things I like to bring in a proper sequence. But we're trying to take these trips and trying to take them in a sequence that you can see time-wise and all, verifying everything. See, to go down to June the 6th, when he speaks from Mount Sinai. See? And all the events that happened on June the 6th, you got to take all that into account to be able to go mark what time is going to be this next trip in the mountain. Okay. Okay, let's go. Let's get to 20 chapter.
And Yahweh Elohim spoke all these words, saying, I am Yahweh thy Elohim,
Now he's saying, I am Yahweh thy Elohim.
which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt,
Uh-huh.
out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Now think about this, just get in your mind. You gotta speak to where 2 billion people are gonna hear you. He's not talking like that.
No, he's thundering.
He's thundering. And the people are shaking from it. It's like when you have a major thunderstorm. See, it's fine when you're at home. See, he said, now, I heard people, they had thunderstorms so bad, they go hide and get underneath the table. Wait till it passes. Yeah, huh?
But he's thundering it in their conscience,
That's right, he's thundering.
so anybody passing by wouldn't be
They
seeing.
would
Right.
they would not know a thing about it. And that's, now that also lets you see the power of Yahweh to reveal and to hide. Gentile walk by with no thing about what's going on. Because you only do that with you. So he's thundering to him. And now what was that supposed to do?
Put fear in them.
Put fear in them, that they will be obedient to it. I said, that's what it's supposed to do. See, we'll find out about it, but okay. Does everybody follow that? This is June the 6th now. He finished the commandments, that's the 18th verse. He finished reading the commandments in that 20th chapter. He tells them to build an altar, and then he goes on. I should say this way. The people told Moses, you go talk to Yahweh. And you speak to us. We don't want to hear Yahweh's voice. We don't want to hear Yahweh no more.
Right.
See? So they go, Moses goes back to the plateau of the mountain, and Yahweh talks to him on the plateau of the mountain. Now, on the plateau of the mountain is where he gets the information that you have recorded in your Bible, the 21st chapter, the 22nd chapter, and the 23rd chapter, and the 24th chapter, the first 3 verses.
Say that one more time. I'll tell. That's 20th chapter, 21st chapter.
All happened on June the
22nd.
6th.
Yeah, right.
This
22nd
happened on June the 6th.
and
In
the 24th,
Exodus
23rd
21,
24,
22,
26.
and 23, and 24, verses 1
Before it says
through
next day.
3.
I got you. All in June.
Second trip, right?
This is on no, this is the first trip.
First trip.
First.
This is the first trip on the 6th day of June.
Well, he already made the trip. He
Huh?
Just Moses made the trip ready. This is him speaking out to everybody.
Wait, covenant.
Moses already came down with it. This is what they're collectively hearing this now.
No. Not yet. This is what Yahweh is giving Moses on the plateau of the mountain. They haven't heard it yet. Get the 20th chapter, read down. Get the 24th chapter, read down.
The 20th?
The 24th chapter.
The 24th.
24. Take it from the 23 and the last two verses of the 23rd chapter, read it on to the 24th chapter, on down to the.
Yeah, it says-
What's the matter?
Huh?
If I'm losing somebody, raise your hand. That's why I'm trying to take it step by step, trying to get everybody to see it the same way.
She's probably shaking her head at me because I'm asking.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. No, no.
No, just
People-
amazing, that, yeah, the wow.
Maybe I'm not as young as I know. I'm not young as I used to be. I know that. Y'all also know that too.
That's not a mystery.
Neither are we.
But I'm trying, so we think the Bible has some sense to it. The one thing that I think we should have in our minds all the time, God the King of Kings to us, we knew nothing about the Bible.
Right.
Where would you start? how we start, you know, where you starting is the right place to start.
Exodus.
All these type of things we didn't know. And when he gives you insight about it, and you want to share it with somebody, we want to make it clear so somebody can understand what thus said Yahweh. Because this is Yahweh's revealing himself to mankind. And what Dr. King was doing was proving the divine authenticity of the Bible
Right.
and the scriptures, so that you can then have some confidence that what you got in your lap has meaning. The religious world, they don't have no idea. They just read the scripture and saying some nice words and trying to make you happy, and make you give in your pocketbook that you might give them some more money. That's all they want. So I haven't got my Cadillac yet. Or my Mercedes, or anything. So, but the point I'm trying to emphasize of what's going on, not only in the world, but even some places in the exclusive part of goes. Okay, now, 6th day of June. Okay.
That just sounds Well, because, so when we were there in Exodus, the 19th chapter, the 16th verse, that's June the 6th, so he's talking with them, right? So then we go into Exodus, and we go into Exodus from 19 through 16 through 19, then it goes right into the 20th verse, and he's talking with, told them to get ready, because on the third day he's going to, actually, this is June the 6th. So then he's speaking to them, and then Moses comes down on the mount on the 20th chapter, around the 19th verse, right in there. And so then he goes back in the 22nd, says, "Thou shalt say to the children of Israel." So Moses up on the mount at this time, getting these 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th.
On the plateau of the mountain, on the plateau of the mountain, on June
Verse 1
6th,
through 4, 1 through 3.
on the 6th day,
That about right?
on the 6th day of June.
6th day of June.
Yeah, I think
Gotcha.
you started off, I think it was real,
Yeah, it was Exodus, the 19th chapter.
I know it was the 19th chapter,
And then,
1916 to 19.
correct. And then it goes right into the 20th
Then
chapter.
from there goes to the 20th chapter.
Correct.
See? Then at the end of the 20th chapter, he's telling them to build an altar. He tells them to,
Yeah, yeah.
it was making Moses then a go-between, making him a mediator.
Yeah, because the children of Israel said, "You go up."
You're right. So
After those 10 commandments that we
Right,
gave
on the
them,
same day,
yeah, you go talk to
so
them.
he goes back to the mount, plateau mount. And Yahweh now is informing him about the judgments of Israel, which is the 21st,
Which is the plateau of the mountain.
which is the plateau of the
Oh,
mount,
got you. All right. Okay.
on June 6th.
On June 6th. Got you. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's right, that's right. I'm just trying to see if anybody got a question about what I'm saying. Yes?
I'm still confused about Exodus 19 and 16. That is the June 6th or June 3rd? Because that's what I thought.
That's actually June 3rd, actually.
June 3rd.
I mean, June,
Right.
that's actually June 6th.
Yeah.
That's actually June 6th.
June 6th. Okay, I wrote it down right. Okay. Okay, thank
So
you.
you got to write two things. On that, the third day, on June 3rd, he's just telling them to prepare to meet them, get around the mountain. So any verse you read about that in that 19th chapter is him telling them about getting ready to get clean around the mountain. Then on the 16th verse, he's telling them after 3 days are gone by, they should be cleaned up and they should be ready to get around the mountain. He describes what the cloud looked like, how Yahweh came up on top of the mountain. Now he's getting ready to tell them what he wants them to know. Introduce himself to them. Now, suppose we just read that so everybody can see what I'm talking about. 19th chapter of Exodus, hold on. 19, 16, down to the 19th. Then go to the 20th chapter, verse 1. Well, you read it, he's going to introduce himself to him. Then go to the 17th chapter and read down, the 17th verse and read down. I'm just trying to make you see the sequence of events based on what your Bible has, okay? So we're going to start at 19:16 through the 19th verse. Then Exodus 20th chapter, where Yahweh's given the commandments. It ends at in the 17th verse. Then he's telling Moses in the 18th verse. That's where they got frightened, they started moving away and said,
Right.
you go talk to Yahweh, whatever Yahweh said we would do. See? And Yahweh tells Moses, said, you tell Israel, see that I have spoken to you from heaven.
Right.
So he's speaking to them from heaven. So what that verse right there is an eye-opener in itself.
Right.
Because we're thinking, you got sprout wings and go all the way up into the sky someplace and go meet Jesus or Yahweh or somebody they're going to meet up there. The concept they have going out there now. But I'm trying to show you that what he's doing, he's trying to make them fear him enough to be obedient to him. See? So the labor, and I'm looking at the labor that Dr. Kenny did unto us, given us instruction about this Bible. See? I hadn't seen no vision, but I see and understand what he delivered unto us. And that's seeing the vision. That's actually hearing a voice from heaven.
Right.
Because he, being a man, that's a mountain, he's speaking from the top of the mountain. So when he speaks, he said, when I speak, I have spoken. That means whatever came out of his mouth, that's direct from Yahweh. Yes, Yahweh was in that man, yes. He proved it with many, many, many proofs. To me, he did not say it that way. Okay. Now, we're establishing, I'm just trying to establish so we can be able to follow through what we're saying. Do we need to read that, or everybody will follow? If somebody wants to read it, we'll just go ahead.
I recommend slowing down. I know you say you don't have time, but what else?
No, I can
What else do we have?
It's just take that's fine.
You know him by repetition.
I haven't got back to where we was at last Friday night yet.
That's fine.
But that's fine, I have no problem. And I know, and I want you to know, so I don't mind. Okay? So we're here to help people to learn and know something about their Creator possibly that they didn't know about before. Yes, dear.
That's a good thing, like Mona said, slow down, because when I came into class, Dr. Kenley would have the same scripture read for about 6 or 7 classes. We get that same scripture, and he was the minister, and he'd go over the same thing, trying to get us to see. So, nothing wrong
Yeah,
with it.
don't say we don't have time, but it's eternal life.
Well, we are on the clock, so we have to have, see, I can do like some schools do. At 1 o'clock, they say, yes, anybody got to leave and continue on. Sometimes they continue on 3 or 4 more hours off. I'm not going to do that for you all, so don't get your hopes up high. See, now, be less people come to class if I did that, so. Okay, they asked to go back over and go a little slower. Drop it down and go a little gear. Just slow it down. Okay.
And Aaron's up in the mount on that one too.
Huh?
I didn't think Aaron was up there with that first trip to the plateau.
They just let you several times.
Yeah, I thought it was
That's why people say he went to the mountain more than 3 times.
Yeah, Aaron's up there with them. Aaron's up there with them too.
No.
Yeah, it's according to what we read further down.
Read that verse again, you'll find out he was out there. He's going to have him come up from the mountain.
Right.
He hasn't gone up from the mountain yet. Aaron has not gone up the mountain yet.
What are you reading?
Well, in 1924, it says And thou shalt come up, thou and Aaron with thee.
Thou and Aaron with thee. Eventually that is going to happen.
Oh, that's that one?
24:19.
Oh.
Eventually that is going to happen. He's telling, see, this is what you got, folks.
Wow.
Let me slow back down again. And look, folks, I don't mean to be angry. Sometimes I come off the way, but my wife tips on me every time I do. always get real good about the way I get home. So, or on the way home, I should say that one first. So,
Your niece.
try my niece and my wife. They're my petite critics, which I don't mind. I'm just making you all be aware of what goes on, so you can probably see what I do when I need to. And I mean, the other night when Tony asked me a question, I responded pretty harshly about it. In my mind, I'm thinking, I thought I explained it where everybody could understand it, but maybe I didn't. It didn't come off that way. That's my fault there, so I take that as being something for me to learn from. Got to bear in mind everybody doesn't see everything the same way at the same time. And I know that. And there's many times that we have to go over things over and over again for a person to really understand what's being said. So that's what we're doing, going over and over again. Okay? So it says slow down, and we're going to do that again. Okay? Huh? Okay, now. Nineteen and 1. You all asked for it, so I'm going to have to do this way y'all asked for it.
Right.
You don't hear no complaints?
Exodus 19 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai.
I want, okay. We're referring to time with Israel. Okay. Yahweh spoke to Israel and said that would be the beginning of months with them. And he told them on that same day, take a lamb out of the 10th, or over to the 14th, or over on the 14th. And you left Egypt on the 15th of the first month, which would be April, May, and June. So the 3rd month, they said in the self-same day, which would be the 3rd day of the 3rd month, or June 3rd. What happens then? Read, please.
For they were departed from Rephidim and were up to the desert of Sinai.
Came to the desert of Sinai, read.
And had pitched in the wilderness. And there Israel camped before the mount.
They camped before the mountain, read.
And Moses went up unto Elohim, and Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying.
Now he's back up to John Plateau again. On the mountain. And saying what? Read.
Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself.
The thing about it is they don't remember. They don't remember what they saw and what Yahweh did for them. But you should remind them of you've seen what I've done. I destroy your enemies that become pursued after you come into the land of Egypt. Overthrow them in the Red Sea. Okay, continue.
5th verse. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all the people. For all the earth is mine,
For all there is mine, read.
and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests.
Now here, this is what Yahweh is telling Moses to tell Israel, that they're going to be a kingdom of priests, and what else?
And an holy nation.
And a holy nation. Okay? Now that's what Yahweh wanted with Israel. But it's based upon them being obedient to his commandments. Okay, read on.
These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
7th verse. And Moses came and called for the elders of the people,
Mm-hmm.
and laid before their faces all these words which Yahweh commanded him.
Now, consider this now, folks. Moses could have stand in a mountain. Everybody hear my voice! He talked to the elders. He had the elders come from the tribes. Told them, and they went and told the people in their tribe. That was like a chain of command. Everybody would be aware of what thus said Yahweh. Okay. Read on. I don't have time to go back with that all of it. Read on.
8th verse. And all the people answered together and said, all that Yahweh hath spoken will we do. And Moses returned the words of the people unto Yahweh.
He went back. He told it to the elders. Went back to, and they said all that Yahweh said we would do, so he went back to Yahweh. They said they're going to do. They're going to be okay. Read on.
And Yahweh said unto Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people unto Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
10th verse. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Go unto the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and let them wash their clothes,
Mm-hmm.
and be ready against the third day.
Mm-hmm.
For the third day Yahweh will come down in the sight of all the people unto Mount Sinai.
Read on.
And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about.
Read on down to the 15th verse. Then go down to the 20th verse, and then come back up to the 16th verse, and go into the 20th chapter.
15th verse.
Okay, what I was given instructions to read. Exodus, we read from verse 19:1 down to the 15th verse. This is Yahweh talking to Moses, and Moses talking to Israel, giving commandments to them to do, what he wants them to know, what Israel is replying back to him about. So now we've got going on here now is that we're reading 19th chapter of Exodus. We're reading the events that's happening between Moses, Israel, and Yahweh. And Yahweh had not made himself known to Israel collectively yet. What we're reading there right now. He's really talking to Moses. Moses is going to tell the elders tell the rest of the people in the congregation. And then he takes word back to Yahweh what this thing says. So he's becoming a mediator between the children of Israel and Yahweh. Okay, now continue reading. Where are you at now? Where are you at now? Please.
I was at the 12th verse, but you want me to skip down to 15?
No, go on, read on down to the 15th. So I have to read down to the 15th verse. 15th verse, I want to go to the 20th verse. 20th verse down to the 24th verse. The last verse of the 25th verse. Then come back to the 16th verse. Read down to the 19th verse, and then go to the 20th chapter. Is that slow enough for everybody?
You can write it down on the board.
I'll repeat it out.
That's fine too. That's, I like that, so I appreciate that. We're reading Exodus
19,
19,
1 through 15.
1 through 15.
Then you want to skip down to 20.
Then we're going to go down to the
20th verse.
same chapter, 20th verse,
To the 25th.
through the 25th verse.
Then you want to go up into
Then we want to go
16.
back up to the 16th verse, down to the 19th verse.
Correct.
Then we're going to go to the 20th chapter. 20th chapter, 1 through 17. Then you got 18 down through the last verse of that chapter. And then you pick up the 21. Then you go over and pick up 21, 22, 23, all the way down here. So, there's several places in the Bible, this is what you got to do to make the Bible make sense, by reading it. Because the chronology is not a lot of times it's not given in chronological order. Okay. Now, join us with the reading now. With the reading now. And I hope it makes a lot more sense when you read it in this fashion for you. Okay. So you were at 19 and 12, 13?
19 and 12.
19 and 12, so if you read down to the 15th. If you get to the 15th, you're going to go to 20. 20 to the 25th. Then to the 16th, verse the same chapter, go down to 19, and then go to 20 and 1.
Worn out.
Huh?
Already worn out?
Well, it's part of the job, so I'll take care of it. Okay.
Exodus 19 and 12 verse.
Uh-huh.
And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves, that ye go not up into the mount, or touch the border of it. Whosoever toucheth the mount shall be surely put to death.
She's warned them, don't come up in the mountain, they shall surely be put to death. Now Moses' hearing is very good. You hear what Yahweh is saying to him. Okay, read on.
13th verse. There shall not be a hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through. Whether it be beast or man, it shall not live. When the trump soundeth long, they shall come up to the mount. And Moses went down from the mount unto the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. And he said unto the people, Be ready against the third day. Come not at your wives.
20th verse.
20th verse. And Yahweh came down upon Mount Sinai.
Now he's giving a description of what's happened. The cloud came down on Mount Sinai. The cloud had been falling as they walked come up out of the land in Egypt in the wilderness. They've been falling this cloud. Now the cloud goes up and sets them on top of Mount Sinai. Okay, read.
On the top of the mount, and Yahweh called Moses up to the top of the mount. And Moses went up. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Go down, charge the people,
Go down and charge the people.
lest they break through unto Yahweh to gaze.
You know, basically just give us an overview of what you just got to read. Okay, read on.
And many of them perish.
Then many will perish. Read.
And let the priests also which come near to Yahweh sanctify themselves,
They'll sanctify themselves. Some of the priests come there. Let them sanctify themselves. Read.
lest Yahweh break forth upon them. And Moses said unto Yahweh, The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai.
Are you listening to what's happening? This is a conversation between Yahweh and Moses. Moses is asking, now we can't come up to the mountain. You just got to tell me. They don't want to touch the mountain. They can touch the mountain. They'll be stoned or be put to death. You read.
For thou chargest us, saying,
But thou charges us saying,
set bounds about the mount
Set bounds around the mount.
and sanctify it.
Sanctify it.
And Yahweh said unto him, Away,
Away.
get thee down,
Get thee down.
and thou shalt come up, thou and Aaron with thee.
Mhm.
But let not the priests and the people break through to come up unto Yahweh, lest he break forth upon them. And Moses went down unto the people and spake unto them.
Now, this is what you just read. He's telling him at that time, on the third day of June, that he's going to have Aaron and the priests will come in the mount. But he also told them, don't let nobody touch the mount until the appointed time. So time is very important. See? So now, what got happened, what's sort of happening now, see, now he went back down to the people and reappeared to them to clean up, get ready for the third day. So you got 3 days going on. Now go back to 16 verse.
And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount.
It's the third day, so the third day, June 3rd to June the 6th is 3 days. So we come down in the purple cloud on top of Mount Sinai, read.
And the voice of the trumpet exceedingly loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled.
This is like it's calling for assembly. They read.
And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet Elohim. And they stood at nether part of the mount.
And they stood at the header part of the mount. They stood away from the mount. We don't want to come near that. So this is too loud. We read on.
And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because Yahweh descended upon it in fire. And the smoke therefore ascended as the smoke of a furnace. And the whole mount quaked greatly. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moses spoke, and Elohim answered him by a voice.
So he's down at the foot of the mountain now. He's down there with the children of Israel. And now he speaks unto Yahweh. See? Read.
And Yahweh spoke all these words, saying, I'm reading the Exodus the 20th verse.
So now you read from the 19th verse to the 20th chapter, verse 1. Because Moses spoke unto Yahweh, Yahweh answered. This is Yahweh answering now. So now he's getting ready to address the whole assembly. See? Read.
And Yahweh spoke all these words, saying, I am Yahweh thy Elohim,
I am Yahweh thy Elohim.
which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt,
Moses didn't do that. I did. Read.
out of the house of bondage.
Of the house of bondage.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above.
So now he's giving the commandments, the 10 commandments. Okay. They heard him speak this and tell them that. See? 17th verse.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house.
That's the last commandment. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house,
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife,
neighbor's wife,
nor his manservant,
nor his manservant,
nor his maidservant,
maidservant,
nor his ox, or his ass, nor anything that is in thy neighbor's. 18. And all the people saw the thundering and the lightning and the noise of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off, and then said unto Moses,
They said unto Moses,
Speak thou with us,
Speak thou with us,
and we will hear.
and we will hear.
But let not Yahweh speak with us, lest we die.
We don't want to hear him speak that way. See?
And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for Yahweh is come to prove you,
Yahweh has come to prove it.
and that his fear may be before your faces.
That's what he's doing even today, folks. That his fear may be before our faces,
That he sin not.
that you sin not.
And the people stood afar off. And Moses drew near unto the thick darkness.
Now he's going up. This is the same June 6th. He's going up to the thick cloud, the darkness reading.
Where Yahweh was.
Right. At the plateau of the mountain, right? It's the plateau of the mountain. Starting Moses, read.
22nd verse. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say to the children of Israel, Ye have seen that I have talked with you from heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Ye shall not make with thee gods of silver, neither shall they make you any gods of gold.
He's confirming the thing back over again. Give me that. Well, he tells about making an altar and all this in there too. I don't really want to go all that detail. Unless you all want me to do that, I'll do it. Okay, read on.
Can we read on? Okay. And about the altar?
Yeah, read about the altar, because I mean,
I thought,
see, you asked me a question earlier,
I did.
and I'm trying to confirm it so you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. See, Aaron has not gone to the mountain yet.
It would seem like he did from what
He was just telling Moses that he's going to come to the mountain at a certain time.
I got you.
You see, he was telling him he's going to come to the mountain. So I'm trying to figure the sequence so you see when he tells him, when he invites him, and then when he goes up in the mountain. We got series of events that are going to happen before that happens. Okay. So we're still, this is June 6th, we're still talking about. He's giving them the judgments of Israel. That's what you read in the 21st, 22nd, 28th, and 29th. No, we're going to 21st, 22nd, and 23rd verse. And then going into the 24th chapter, the first 3 verses of that. See, that's what this is what being told him on the Passover Mount. Israel has not heard this yet. Are you with me on that part before that goes? Go to the 23rd chapter, last 2 verses of that, and read right on to the 34th chapter, which I'll put in the sequence in. 34, 23.
32.
This is Exodus 23, and I'll start at 31. And I will set thy bounds from the Red Sea even to the Sea of Philistines, and from the desert unto the river.
So he's telling the territory they're going to inhabit.
For I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and thou shalt drive them out before thee.
Now this is what he said now. He said, I will deliver. He didn't say they were going to. You got to pay attention to what's being said there. He said, I will deliver. Not Israel on their own.
Yeah, no.
Okay, read on.
For thou shalt make no covenant with them,
Don't make no covenant, don't make any agreement with them on this.
nor with their gods.
Nor with their gods.
They shall not dwell in thy land,
Hmm?
lest they make thee sin against
Unless
thee.
they make them sin.
For if thou serve their gods, I will surely be a snare unto thee.
So you go in that neighborhood or go in those and you worship these other gods, you turn your back upon Yahweh. That means you're committing adultery. You're fornicating. And if you do that, it's going to be a snare to you. It's going to be death in you when you do that. He's telling them up front. See? Okay, read on.
And he said unto Moses, Come up unto Yahweh,
Come up into Yahweh.
thou, Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu.
Now this is an invite. Special invite. Thou, Aaron,
Nadab, and Abihu,
Nadab, and Abihu.
and 70 of the elders of Israel.
70 of the elders of Israel. They're coming up there to be witnesses to what Moses has been seeing all along. And what he's saying to them. Because he's got to get the people to believe in what he's saying. So they got to have more than one witness. So you got to have some other people to witness to tonight. Okay, read on.
And 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off.
Read.
And Moses alone shall come near Yahweh.
Now it's in Pacific now. That means they're going to come to a plateau of the mount. See? Then it says Moses alone should go to the top of the mount. So this is going to be the second trip when he goes to the top of the mount. Okay, read on.
But they shall not come nigh,
But they shall not come nigh.
neither shall the people go up with him. Go on, keep
Now
going.
that's what the third verse?
Yeah, that was the second.
That was the second verse? Read on.
And Yahweh came and told the people all the words of Yahweh.
So now it means he heard all this here, and then he went down and told the people all the words of Yahweh. Read. All these judgments.
And all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice, and said, All the words which Yahweh has said, we will do. And Moses wrote all the words of Yahweh, and rose up early in the morning, and built an altar under the hill.
See, now all what we're reading now, that takes time. You sit down and write those 603 laws,
Yeah, judgment.
judgments to Israel. He's writing it in a book. See? Read on, let's read on, continue reading, please.
So this is the altar that we read.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting down to now. He's going to come in the altar, which he told to do in the 20th chapter. That's why you got, see when you read there, you might have read that, read on down and think of, what's up about the altar here now? I'm trying to tie it together so you see y'all was told to do it, now he's carrying it out. And that's between the first trip and the second trip to the top of the mountain. Okay, read on. Does everybody follow in, or everybody
Just
understand that?
Just what Beverly said, so the altar that's mentioned right here, what I just read, refers back to Exodus 20 and 24, where it says build an altar
Right.
of earth. Right? So that's what Beverly just said.
That's what she's saying, that's what she's
Right.
doing. That's why I have to read about it. So you can see why they do it over here in the 24th chapter. So you read.
And Moses wrote all the words.
Pardon me, but read that so everybody can do the same
This is
thing.
Exodus 24 and 4.
Okay.
And Moses wrote all the words of Yahweh, and rose up early in the morning, and built an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offering and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto Yahweh. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant.
Now, the book of the covenant, now that means the book that he wrote of the judgments and the commandments that he wrote. That's a book he has now. He wrote that. This is not the 70 elders now. See? Continue reading it.
And read it in the audience of the people.
Then he read in the audience of the people.
And they said, all that Yahweh has said we will do, and be obedient. And Moses took the blood,
and
sprinkled it on the people,
and
and said, behold the blood of the covenant.
So he had to divide it up to the elders, and they had to go out and sprinkle the people, because it made it binding on them by blood, this first covenant. Yes.
So the covenant, this first covenant is being consecrated on June 6th. This is all part of it. Before the second trip, correct?
Right.
Just want to make sure.
Second.
That's June 7th.
Technically, that would be June 7th, technically, because the day after.
It's the next morning.
Because the next morning, it says the next morning, I think in the fourth verse or fifth verse.
Right, fourth verse.
The fourth verse says the next morning, so that'd be the 7th, when he's dedicating the people.
So he's actually consecrating that covenant on June 7th.
Yeah, right. Actually, by the scriptures, what you got.
Okay.
But it's the same covenant that was given to them on the 6th chapter. But it's just being, now they got it in book form. And you got, see, he's dealing with Israel from a physical standpoint. So they got to see physical blood. You got to see a physical book. You got to see a physical altar. All the things they got to see and then do. So they know that y'all, because that's what they're natural mind, they're carnal minded. But they got to do, well, you got to work with it from a natural standpoint. Because that's the type. It's going to transfer on this side now in the spirit. We now you have a bloody animal, or a bullock or turtle dove being offered now. It's the body of Yahshua. And that all you got to do is believe in it now. So all that's now is about belief. Not going and doing it from a physical standpoint. So it had to be done to them, because that's what they learned. So you dealt with natural, physical, not spiritual. Okay, read on.
And Moses wrote all the words of Yahweh, and rose up early in the morning, and built an altar under the hill and 12 pillars, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings, and oxen unto Yahweh.
Right.
And Moses took half of the blood and put it in the basin, and half the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read it in the audience of the people. And they said, all that Yahweh has said we will do and be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold the blood of the covenant, which Yahweh hath made with thee concerning all these words.
Now, when you go to the book of Hebrews, you'll find Paul was writing about what these events we're talking about here, in the 9th chapter of Hebrews. See? Okay, we don't have time to verse
At that point, that's when they became married to Yahweh.
That's when they become married. That's when they became binding. See? They've done so many things different now. When you get married today, don't they ever give a blood test?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. That's why I said I don't know what's happening next. I haven't had to do that. See?
Just get married like that, that's it. Getting weird.
So you're seeing that the world is just going completely opposing to what does Yahweh. Everything. I'm not going to go into that now. But anyhow, the point I'm just trying to get, it was once required you had to have a blood test. The wife, or the man and the woman. Just heard about Friday, 3 men got married together.
Yep.
Oh, come on.
So it's
3 men got married together.
Yeah. 1921 and 22.
And you're gonna find,
You're gonna adopt, watch.
you're gonna find, people are so low in their mindset. You're gonna find them wearing animals too.
That's something here.
No, let me tell you what. They are fulfilling what you always said was going to take place. And your eyes should be open to that, to show how close we are to the end. That's why I was going to bring it up. It is an appropriate time to say that they're getting married. 3 men get married. You're going to have 3 women. You might even have a tribe for long. Well, you got it going on in the, but it's not the same sex as one man and many wives. So you get the same kind of problem.
I looked at the reference where in Hebrews, in the 9th chapter, where really just that.
Yeah. We tell water people, sprinkle blood on people.
Yeah, but he had mixed it up. Paul
He mixed water with
water
blood.
and blood, and it doesn't record water, but this covenant that was given with Israel, we have blood, water, spirit, water.
Right.
And that's a covenant, and then us being grafted into that covenant, us Gentiles, heathens. So, and I know it doesn't read that way back here in Exodus, but that the old is natural to understand the spiritual. So,
I can see it, what you got in the book, I had to go with what's in the book.
Well, isn't that
And
what
Paul, and there's probably, there was water with that when they did that. I don't have a way to prove it one way or the other.
it wasn't when they washed?
Huh? Well, I could look at that when they washed too, but I mean, I can't assume that. I'm trying to get it where the Bible actually says that. I don't see it that way.
can we never shed any
He
blood?
just said it like, he just read it many times, he's going over it many times. I don't think any comments were made above what we read. If he did, I don't remember.
Okay, let's move on.
See, you do find some discrepancies from time to time when different writing, but that could be because some rebuilding them that was not recorded in the scripture. I have no way to say to justify that or sanction it one way or the other. Okay. We're in the,
I just finished.
we're in the 24th chapter,
I just read the 8th verse.
the 8th verse. Okay, now, the 8th verse. Now, we had in the second verse was the infight, who would come up in the mount that was forbidden for anybody to touch. Okay, read.
Can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
Because according to the question I had earlier, that I think you're answering right now. So back there in the 19th chapter, with 22nd, 23rd, where it talks about the high priest shouldn't go, and you invited Aaron to go with you. Now this is being fulfilled, where he just mentioned that it's not here,
That's right.
but it's being done here now.
It's confirmed in the first verse,
I got you.
Acts 24.
I got
That's
you.
when the invitation comes up. But he's telling them there that's going to happen, but they got to be invited.
Right, so the mentality of myself and probably other people would think that
That
from
happened back
where
then.
what happened back here, or before that, but I got you, no, I'm with you.
Because now he's getting ready to carry the thing out.
I'm with you.
See? So now he's telling them this is now, okay now. From the 6th day of June, the 7th day of June, we go down and build the altar, but he's been doing that for 3 or 4 days. And there's some time between this time and when they go up into the top of the mountain. See? Now, you don't have recorded as how many days it was between this and the time they go up in the mountain. But there is a way to verify. See? Because when we read over in Matthew, besides fulfilling, in the 17th chapter of Matthew, then he takes up, now this is him fulfilling what's back there.
Right.
He bring up Aaron and the body up in the mountain. Think about Aaron and the body back here. He's bringing them up in the mountain. And he's bringing them up into the mountain, and he transferred them before them. See? So now, when you start there in Matthew 17:1, it says, and after 6 days, or on the 7th day. So, and when Yahweh spoke the law to Israel on June the 6th, 7 days later would be June 13th.
Right.
So it was on the 13th, then Moses is taking Aaron and the body up in the mountain. Transfigured. Everybody understand now? Yeah. Okay.
Did everybody say yes?
And everybody seen they raised their hand, that's maybe they're shaking their head and they got a little smile on their face, I guess.
So you're saying that from the first verse, for 24:1 down through the 8th verse, there's 6 days that has transpired. Them building his altar, they're sprinkling the people. 6 days have passed by. So you're, which we know that June 7th up there, where Charles mentioned, is on the 4th because they say the next morning.
Right,
So 6 days has passed since then.
Right.
Now we're in June 13th, and there's a place to verify it, and you're going to
And I went to Matthew 17, but I got to have more witnesses in that. Y'all always have something about find.
Okay, well, let's go. So we're like those.
Because the reason why I'm saying this, see now, that the first little verses was a command.
Yes.
Bring Aaron and everybody up in the mountain. Sometimes it got to be fulfilled at that time it's going to be done. So when I go back in Genesis 6th chapter, 7th chapter, 7 and 1, I believe it is, or verse 2 down from there. In the 7th chapter of Genesis, Yahweh's telling Moses, Yahweh's telling Noah,
Right.
bring the children, bring Aaron, bring your sons and their wives into the ark for 7 days.
That's good.
And then fourth verse,
Which chapter?
Genesis 7:4.
So we got a command, then the carrying out. So he's telling them in 7 days he's going to cause it to rain.
Well, 7 and 1 and then 7 and 4.
Genesis 1 and 7 and 1. And Yahweh said unto Noah, come thou and thy house into the ark.
Invite. Come down into the ark. Read.
For thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation.
Mm-hmm.
4th verse. Yet for 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights.
So we got 7 days, then you'll have rain for 40 days. You follow me? So Yahweh takes Moses goes up the mountain on June the 13th. See? And that's when he sees Yahweh on him. And then Yahweh calls Moses on up into the mountain. And he's up in the mountain for 40 days. So you see, it rained 40 days, now you see, and then after this, he's gonna be in the mountain for 40 days. So then Yahweh then communing with Moses in the top of the mountain for 40 days now.
Right.
Seeing the creation.
Yeah.
What else?
Book of Life.
The book of life,
See, Yahweh, we went here, okay. Book of Life, okay.
which is Yahweh.
Tabernacle. Yahweh Elohim.
So that's a pretty busy 40-day trial. And the thing I always try to keep before everybody, you didn't have a notebook, it's a pen. You always communicated to him directly,
Holy Spirit.
and causing him to know and be able to repeat it when you come down from the mountain.
And this is how you get all the events with Adam all the way down.
From
It's
Adam.
because this is where Moses got it.
Well, but at this point, this is the second trip we're going about now.
Genealogy is the third time.
Generation, we're gonna get to that in a minute.
rest.
So now, they go up to the mountain, they see Yahweh Elohim. And then when they come down, when he charges them to Yahweh calls Moses to the top of the mountain, that's in the 12th verse, I think, of the 24th chapter. And then on down in the 14th is when Joshua and him go into the top of the mountain. See, that's somewhat pretty close to that, but it's in that 24th chapter. Then he goes up to the top of the mountain, and that's when he starts seeing the vision of the creation and the tabernacle. He started doing that. See? Now, I thought I had a bigger picture there, but I didn't find it, so. Friday night, I spoke to you all about this other chart that was drawn. And I'm going to try to pass around and look at it. This 40-page chart, this is a version of it that was made for the last 2 or 3 years of Dr. King's life. They were working on this chart. I think they finished it before he died. I don't remember the exact date. So this here and this here goes together. And it talks about first day, second day, third day. The fourth day is halfway cut off, and then you got the fifth and sixth day. That's what we got to think about. You have a complete picture on this chart. You will see that. And at the bottom part of the chart is where it's talking about what we talked about Friday night. Yahweh, Moses saw Yahweh Elohim, and Yahweh said, "Let there be light." He saw light. That was during the evening and the morning was the first day. Okay. So I'm gonna pass it around, and you can look at it and see if you can understand it. We may not understand it, but you see it in there. I'm gonna try to find a way to make it a little bit larger copy of that so everybody can see it. I thought I had a larger copy already, but just look at the first, second, third day, and fourth, fifth days. And look at the very bottom plate. They took the same 40-foot chart, then you had another foot down at the bottom of it, and put these here details at the bottom. There's a whole lot more to it. But they took off on the original original elementary chart, they took that was on the bottom of it, they took a picture at the bottom of this chart. I got that down here too. But I just wanted time to show everything. When I make it, I have to get I have a camera in my garage that you can pull out, and I put it on projector on the wall, and everybody can see it at the same time. Yes?
Renee said that you do have a bigger copy, because she said you lent it to her to teach the kids. Because she
Yeah, I
wants
know.
these. So you do.
My mind is in picture of where I put it at yet.
Okay.
I know it's around the house somewhere. Yeah, I want to have the gentleman to come by sometime in April. We're going to clean my garage out. I mean, clean it out. The only thing I'm supposed to keep is my tapes and some Bibles and books and stuff I have. Huh?
No.
I know they got a lot of tapes in there. I got probably about 1,500 tapes that you call it. Right. Okay.
This is correct.
Yep.
This is correct.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I was If you look at it, you see, okay, let me give you a highlight what we're doing. After they go up to the mountain, after Moses goes to the top of the mountain, and Yahweh told him what he's coming up in the mountain for, right? Did you tell him what he's going to come in the mountain for? What was he going to the mountain for?
Tablestone.
He wrote and received tables of stone, which Yahweh already written on. See? So he's going to go up and receive them and come back down. When he goes back up, he blacks out. And Yahweh then starts showing him in a vision. He's hearing Yahweh say, let there be, and then he saw light. First day, let there be, and he saw light. And divided, then it was a division between light and darkness. And I try to pose a question so everybody will be able to understand why it's so important to understand how this was done. See? They wanted to say that Yahweh created the creation in 6 days. But he said, no, he didn't do it in 6 days. Why? Because you got to create a day first, and then create the days in the day. So he didn't do that. Yahweh is in eternity. So when he creates something, he's going to create something in eternity to come forth. See?
True.
So now what I'm saying to you is this now. So when you consider that Moses has got to write this or record this, and what you have happening with Moses is that Yahweh is narrating what he did. And when he did it, he didn't have nobody to tell it to. He's there by himself. So all he just had to do was and he came into existence. Now, when you think about the Lord, that's real, real powerful. Remember about the power of Yahweh. See? Will a man into existence have all these arteries, veins, and all these heartbeats and all that working perfectly? When you made a man, he made a perfect man. He had to wait for the man to mature from a monkey. Generate will come. He had to do all that. He made a perfect monkey, he made a perfect giraffe, perfect everything. See? Have you seen anybody involved in anything else? You've been around 6,000 years. You should have seen something growing off where you're growing into some other kind of. And you have the same limbs, some may have more of one than the other. Somebody got 6 fingers and 6 toes, and some of you have 2 legs or 3 legs. I said, they got picture of men who wouldn't have legs because they were going to be twins, but they didn't develop as twins. But I mean, Yahweh is great, folks.
Yes.
See, when you think about all that, how you able to do that? Yes.
So Moses didn't know that that's really how it was because Yahweh broke it down for Moses, so Moses could tell the people how it was.
Let me ask you this. What did Adam know about it? What happened before he was born?
Nothing.
What did he know about it?
Nothing.
What did Abraham know about it? He never really knew about it. So all this is mystery, as it is to us today, until somebody says something to you about it. Then you get formed trying to go to school and they try to push down you about evolution. This is not there. There's no proof for it. Yes?
So I have a question on the little charts that you're sending around. Does this have to do with Juan's question and Mona follow-up question on? Is that why you're passing these around? Showing
I
us that
told
first, second,
Friday
and
night
third?
I had another chart.
Okay.
I'm trying to verify that I did have another chart.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to show what it was. I'm trying to show what that bottom part of that chart said.
Okay.
It about the creation.
Okay.
See, they want to know what to put in that last part of that chart. They got the, you can see the chart is only 4 feet deep. The chart is 3 feet. So you got another foot there on the bottom. They didn't know what to do with it.
When you miss one day, you just kind of get everything's up. Gets,
I understand. That's why I try to find out who was here, who was not. I knew I had to go back over this again, anyway. But I thought it was going to be a lot sooner than I am now. So we just now getting back to about what we was at Friday night. See? And I'm trying to show that what This is the problem. You see the problem in trying to clarify. You read about how the cloud was in the eyes of the people, how they looked at the cloud. And you have Moses goes up into the top of the mountain. So what do you think happened with Moses? Based upon the description you have, what do you have to happen with Moses?
Burned up.
See, some people could refer to him as being crucified.
Burned up.
But he's up there at the top of the mountain, the cloud's burning on fire. But he's inside the cloud. And he doesn't see the clouds change from a cloud to a pillar of fire. He's in the midst of the cloud. He's in the realm of eternity, as Dr. King has understood. Yahweh or Spirit manifesting within the cloud, symbolizing eternity. So the cloud is representative of eternity. No beginning or no end of time. So from Adam, first man created, down to Moses, they didn't know anything about the creation. So when Yahweh began to reveal to Moses, see, and if we were wise, when the Messiah came along, he says, begin with Moses. Well, why are you going to begin with Moses? But he wrote about everything that happened before then and all the way down to his time. So you got to begin with Moses.
Right.
Well, beginning with Moses requires some explanation, because we pick up the book Genesis said in the beginning, we think in the beginning Yahweh created heaven and earth. But that's not the way it was. In the beginning of Moses' vision, what he described is how Yahweh showed him how he created the heavens and earth. See, so he was narrating. See? So what I'm saying, that my question is this. If he's in the cloud, which is symbol of eternity, how do you know what time he is on the outside of the cloud?
By the tabernacle pattern, function of the priesthood.
So I'm trying to get them to think about what's going on, so we see the dilemma that we have and trying to understand why he's writing the way he's writing. Moses is writing the way he's writing. See, because when he comes down out of that mountain after 40 days, they're going to say, well, Moses, what happened up in the mountain? In the beginning, Adam created him. That's what he saw. Adam created him. But he couldn't say that until after he seen the creation come in. How can you preface something if you haven't seen it?
Right.
So he had to see the creation come in before he can talk about the creation. Do you follow that much? Let me just, we're talking about the second trip. Yahweh had always spoken the commandments of Israel. When you read the 16th chapter of Exodus, Yahweh is telling Israel, works, gather the manna of 6 days, and gather it up on the 6th day, rest on the 7th day, and rest on the Sabbath day. That's the first time mankind heard anything about a Sabbath day.
Right.
But mankind think, well, because he said, Adam knew about it. Adam didn't know anything about no Sabbath day. So by him not knowing, then you see that there's a time. But now when you read, see, go back to Exodus, the 20th chapter, begin with the, I believe it is the 5th verse.
Well, the Sabbath is
We tell them, remember the 7th day. Is that the 7th verse?
8 verse, 20 and 8. We'll read down to a couple of verses.
Exodus 20 and 8.
Through 11.
11. Remember the Sabbath day.
Now here's Yahweh telling Israel to remember something. Now when you read about them keeping the Sabbath day, it was back in the 16th chapter. We're in the 20th chapter. So they've been keeping the Sabbath for about a month and a half. They're keeping the Sabbath. So now he says, remember the Sabbath. Who's he talking to? Okay, read on.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
Yeah.
For in 6 days Yahweh
Wait a minute. Moses don't know about the 6 days. You already created the heaven and earth.
Right just afterwards.
See what I'm talking about?
It's the scribes. It's just the scribes writing that?
That's right. But he could tell them about that to come down the mountain on the second trip. Because he seen about the creation of that. But now they got that inserted for Yahweh created the heaven and earth in 6 days. The rest on the 7th day. See, that was put in after he seen the vision of the creation. That was not Yahweh didn't put that down to them at that time. Because he hadn't shown the creation yet. You follow what I'm saying?
But he had told them about the Sabbath day.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm going right back to 16th chapter. So he had told them to gather manna for 6 days, the rest on the 7th. So they've been doing that when they go down. That's why I said remember the Sabbath day. But now when he talks about Yahweh worked 6 days and he rested, then you see that. Yes, Dr. Shea?
Now, is that what Moses actually added to it?
You're supposed to get it, yeah. So, of course, now Israel, they all know about it now. So he come down from the mountain, he told them what the events happened. So we told it to the priest, the priest, the scribes, they're writing down what happened.
Genesis.
See? Get 21, verse 21, chapter 21.
What, Jen-
Now, these are the
Exodus.
judgments.
Exodus.
Exodus 21st chapter. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou buy a Hebrew servant.
Okay, now he's going to the judgment. See, now this is now Moses relating to them what does Yahweh say. See? Go to 25:1.
25:1. And Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying,
Why? You got a book that says Moses wrote the book. But when you read it, it says Yahweh spoken to Moses, saying.
Scribes are written.
It's written in third person. So Moses is not writing this. This is what the 70 elders are writing. So you got to understand dictation. Who's writing? Who's the scribes? Who's writing? All this got to come into play because to only make the book make sense. When it makes sense, it is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Beautiful. So we got Moses now. Receive the tablestone, chip in the mountain. We got him up in the mountain. We got him up in the mountain. Okay. No, I'm asking you to slow down. So I'm going to slow down again. So now Friday, you're going to try to pick up at this point and go further. See? Now, I told you Sunday, a week ago, to read Deuteronomy 9 and 10 chapters and Revelation, the 10th chapter. We're going to get to them eventually. We're going to get to them. See? I'm at a point where I could bring up Deuteronomy 9 and 9 now for the first trip. Because now what Moses is doing, they have gone through the wars for 40 years, and right here at the plateau, they're ready to go over Jordan. He's now going over the history of all the events that happened during the whole year. The whole time they sojourned in Deuteronomy is a rerun or reaccount of the events that happened in the wilderness. And this is where you get the timing. See? 40 days, Moses on the mountain. 40 days, Moses down from the mountain. 40 days, Moses back up the mountain. And we put them down, you'll be able to see why things had to occur that way. Okay? Okay, then. See you next week.
Good class. Make sure you get all your belongings that you came in with and water bottles.
Let us stand and be dismissed with doxology. Now to him that is able to keep you from falling and present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. To the only wise Elohim, our Savior, through Yahshua Messiah, our Sovereign, belong glory and majesty, dominion and power, both before all time and now and ever. Let us all say,
Hallelujah.